So you want to be a product manager. You probably have heard quite many times about these tech companies, these big Googles, Facebook, Amazon, that they are building these cool tech products, and you think that it would be cool to actually do a similar job where you are able to define a new product and bring it all the way to market, or you want to work with existing products, brands that have a good name that you will like and you feel that you can bring value to them. So today we are going to talk about what a product manager should know in order to fulfill their jobs. But first, coffee. So product manager's position in the company is quite a central one. It's a position where you are working with many different trades, with many different teams and with many different disciplines. There are many online resources explaining all these different positioning of the product manager. So we are not going to go into that direction in how does it relate the product manager position to the other positions in the company. But we are going to talk more about what are the skills that you should have and you should know to be a product manager and do your work successfully. So one of the first things that you will have to know when trying to be a product manager is trying to understand what your product is, and it's not just about what it does, but what is the solution that your product is bringing to an existing customer problem. From here you are going to be able to define what is the vision of your product or your part of the product. But you have to understand that when you're a product manager, you have to plan against a certain vision and a certain goal, so that you always have a focus of where you want to take the product in the future. As well, once you establish what is your vision, what are the problems that you are solving for your customers, what are the solutions, you should be able then to define what are the strategic key points that you have to define within your product, so you understand what are the key strategies that you will have to focus on in order to achieve your vision. And what can help you doing this is talking with customers, potential customers, understand the problems that they have, trying to identify potential problems that you could be solving with your solutions, and also listen to their feedback. Always communicate and listen to what your customers or potential customers have to tell you about your products to understand, does our product fulfill their needs? In the next one, what you will have to do is you have to know your customers. And by knowing your customers, I don't mean that you know them by name and who the person is, but you have to identify who these people that I'm bringing solutions to are. So you have to create a proper customer segmentation. What are the industries that you are present, that you are selling to or bringing value to? What are the different geographies that you are bringing value? So try to break down your customer base as much as possible, because this will define you. What are the niche that you have to bring value to? And here you probably it would be good to, especially if you have an existing product, to work with finance, to work with some data science that can give you the insights on which ones are the companies that are actually providing the biggest revenue to your own company, because potentially these companies are the ones that you are, or these segments are the ones that you are bringing the most value to them, because then of course you bring value, they are willing to pay for the services or the solutions that you are providing. So trying to identify these customer segments and always try to align then your strategy to focus on the customer segments where you see that you're strong. And if you see a high potential on a certain customer segment, then you can modify your strategy to try to tackle it. But being able to define the actual customer segment and who do you serve to is going to be a massive advantage from the very beginning when you are trying to do your messaging and your promotion for your products. Once you have defined your vision, you have defined your strategy, you have defined your customer personas, then you can look into how to value your ideas. So when you're working in product management, what is going to happen is that you're going to get a ton of ideas coming from different people. They will come from your sales teams, it will come directly from customers, it will come from your support teams, or internally from the development teams or the product team itself, when you look and see potential new trends in the industry where you're working. Being able to understand the potential value of these ideas, how well they align with your strategy and what is the potential return on investment of an idea is going to help you massively when you have to do prioritization. Many times prioritization is done a little bit like how the product team or product manager or product owners feel about a new feature being added to the product, but not necessarily all the time there is a good background information of why this implementing this idea would make sense in the product. As I was saying in the beginning, being a product manager means that you have to work with many different teams and many different disciplines within your company. So you will have to work with people from sales teams, from marketing teams, from designing teams, from engineering teams. And you are kind of in a crossroads where you had to actually try to align all these different teams together to be able to actually deliver a feature or a product end to end. And this means that you will have to work starting from your point of view, where you gather an idea, make sure that this is a good idea that aligns with our strategy, aligns with our vision. Then we will plan it properly. Once it's planned, then it's hand over to the engineering team. Then you will have to continue working with your engineering team. But from the get-go, you should also already introduce the idea to the rest of your company or the people involved in this project. So they understand, for example, how am I going to promote this new feature or this new product to our end users? How am I going to support it? How are they going to learn how to use it? So it's key that from the get-go, all this information is shared internally within the company. So everybody can align and understand what's the value and the benefit for the end user. Basically, it's trying to look into a holistic customer journey from the end customer point of view. So how me as a user get aware that you have a new product or that your product has a new brilliant feature, what's the value that provides, how can I take it into use, how can I learn actually to use it, and if there is a problem, how can I get support to get my questions answered. So being able to be cross-functional to align with all the different units is going to be key part of your job. So being in a way a middleman or a middlewoman is going to be very, very important for you to fulfill this role. And finally, a product manager is going to actually have to care about the design, about what is the actual experience that the user has with the actual product. So products are fundamentally emotional. You typically are going to use the product as an end user, the ones that actually make sense and you feel that you can actually use. I understand that in some cases, in B2B situations, it's not going to be necessarily the same thing, but in the end, if the end users are not able to use your product or are not happy using your product, so the experience when they use the product is not good, then this is going to anyways probably have an impact on how your product and your company are perceived by those users and by the companies that are purchasing. So let's do a quick summary on what we have been talking. So first of all, what you're going to have to do as a product manager is that you're going to have to be able to define a vision of your product. What is the problem that you want to solve for your customers or the part of the product that you are working with? Then you will have to define a strategy to be able to achieve that vision that you have set yourself to do. And this strategy will give you the key points that you have to focus on in order to deliver that vision, in order to deliver that solution for your customer. Then you will need to be able to define the customer personas, the different industries that you are trying to serve, that your products are bringing solutions to. And always remember to niche down into the ones that you actually bring in the most focus, especially if you are an early startup or a small business. It's easier and much more successful to focus on a small group and bring them value, get traction with them. You will have time to grow in the future. Once you have defined all these previous steps, you can define the way that you value ideas, how you value an idea against your strategy. Is this new idea or this new potential feature actually tackling some of the strategic points that we need in order to solve our customers' problems? And is it helping the industries or the customer personas that we are actually focusing as a business? This will help you prioritize your different features or your different ideas. Then, of course, on the soft value side, you will have to know how to work with many different people. This will include different teams within your company, but also customers. And then finally, you have to remember that design is key and user experience is key for a successful product. So most likely as a product manager, especially if you're in the beginning of your career, you're not going to tick most of the boxes, and that's okay. It's a product manager as any other career is a learning path. And especially nowadays, if you want to stay relevant in any career, you have to be willing to be continuously learning, to be able to identify what are your potential weaknesses and try to tackle them. And how can you improve in the future to do a better job on whatever you are doing, in this case as a product manager. But of course, the more boxes you tick, the more seniority you will have as a product manager, and the more potentially you could advance in your career to other positions. So what do you think about this video? Do you think that these are the things that a product manager should know? Are these the strengths that a product manager should have? And by the way, do you think that maybe I'm missing some of these strengths? So please comment below and let us know. And remember to please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps greatly the channel, obviously, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm. See you in the next one. Stay safe.